Oh. Oh. Oh.
That's what it looks like.
Oh. Hey, sir, what's your name? What's that?
The injured man is Donald Corvette Davis, a 72-year-old local resident.
Yeah? Do you know what happened to you? Yeah. Could you tell me?
With Corvette too weak to explain what happened, officers began working to determine how and why something like this could occur.
You got these acceleration marks right here, or braking marks. I don't know if it was this truck that... See him right here in the back?
In a neighborhood park in League City, Texas, the air should have been filled with the smell of barbecue and the sound of celebration. It was May 10th, and friends had gathered to celebrate a milestone, a 95th birthday. But as evening fell, the celebration was silenced by the roar of an engine and a sickening thud. "I'm the one who ran over him," the man says. He sits behind the wheel of his truck unmoved as paramedics struggle to save a life just a few feet away. His voice isn't trembling with the shock of a tragic accident. It's flat, matter of fact. 8-year-old Ted Castle, a Vietnam veteran, claims his foot simply slipped. He points to his age, his failing balance, and a history of vehicular mishaps as his defense. But as investigators look closer at the tire marks carved into the grass and listen to the whispers of the party guests, a different story begins to emerge. This wasn't a moment of elderly frailty. It was a moment of calculated, cold-blooded rage. Donald Davis, known to his friends as Corvette, was 72 years old. He was a man of routine, a staple in his local community, and a friend to many. On this particular Saturday, Corvette had one goal: to celebrate the 95th birthday of a mutual friend, a local man known simply as Dub. Dub was a pillar of the community, a man whose life spanned nearly a century. His birthday wasn't just a party, it was a gathering of the old guard. These were men who had seen the world change, who had lived through decades of Texas heat and history. Ted Castle was part of that circle, a 8-year-old veteran who had moved away but returned for the occasion. To an outsider, they were just a group of retirees enjoying a milestone. There was food, there was talk of the past, and there was the familiar comfort of old friendships. But beneath the surface of this gathering, there was a simmering tension. Ted Castle didn't arrive with the spirit of celebration. He arrived with a chip on his shoulder and a sense of entitlement that would soon prove fatal. Before we go any further, if you're someone who needs to understand why people do the things they do, you're exactly where you should be. This is the Malice Mind. Subscribe if you haven't already. Now, back to Corvette Davis. The shift happened the moment Ted Castle decided the rules didn't apply to him. Upon arriving at the park, Castle bypassed the parking lot and drove his heavy Ford F-150 directly onto the grass. When a neighbor warned him that he shouldn't park there, Castle's response was a preview of the malice to come. "I've lived here for 30 years. I can park where I want." Corvette Davis, arriving shortly after, was informed of the situation. He walked over to the truck to confront Castle. It was a minor dispute over a parking spot, the kind of triviality that happens 1,000 times a day. But for Ted Castle, it was an assault on his status. Witnesses would later recall seeing Castle pull a .38 caliber pistol, brandishing it to scare Corvette away. Corvette retreated, pulling out his phone to call the police. That should have been the end of it. But as Corvette stood with his back turned, seeking help, the F-150's engine revved. The truck didn't just roll forward, it surged. It struck 2-year-old Corvette Davis with such force that his hand was degloved, the skin literally peeled back by the impact of the metal. He was pinned, his hip and femur shattered, his body broken against the very grass where they were supposed to be eating cake. When the League City police arrived, they didn't find a panicked driver. They found Ted Castle. He was calm. He was arrogant. He immediately began weaving a narrative of unfortunate accidents. He told officers about his fish place north of Brenham and a time he hit a Goodwill store, claiming his foot frequently slips from the brake to the gas. "I certainly did not run over him on purpose," he told them. For the first hour, the investigation was treated as a potential traffic accident involving an elderly driver. Detectives processed the scene, noting the acceleration marks on the grass. To the officers, it looked like a man who had lost control, but the human cost was mounting. Corvette Davis was rushed to the hospital, his condition described as gravely injured. The detectives were patient. They listened to Castle talk about his yellow Jeep, his football days, and his ability to bench press 300 pounds. They watched as he grew increasingly hostile, demanding his wallet, threatening his attorney, and even threatening to urinate in public because the investigation was taking too long. "You don't want me to lose my temper," Castle warned. He wasn't acting like a man who had just accidentally crushed a friend. He was acting like a man whose afternoon had been inconvenienced. As Castle was transported to the station, detectives began to piece together a darker reality. They interviewed Dennis, Castle's housemate, who had been kicked out of the truck earlier for being a jerk. Dennis's account was conflicted. He wanted to believe it was an accident, but he revealed that Castle had been drinking. More importantly, Castle had instructed Dennis to hide 2 beer cans from the truck before the police arrived. The accident was starting to look like a cover-up. The breakthrough didn't come from a forensic lab or a high-tech reconstruction. It came from the guest of honor himself, 95-year-old Dub. When detectives spoke with Dub, they asked the simple question, "Why did this happen?" Dub's answer changed everything. He revealed that shortly before the truck surged forward, Ted Castle had made a chilling proclamation to the guests in the golf cart. "I'm going to run him over with my truck." When confronted with this statement, Castle's demeanor shifted. He didn't deny saying it. Instead, he attempted to reframe it. "I was joking," he claimed. "I say a lot of things that are not serious." But the evidence didn't suggest a joke. The brandishing of the .38 pistol, the drinking, the concealment of the beer cans, and the specific acceleration marks all pointed to a singular, intentional act of violence. The frail 7-8-year-old was gone, replaced by the man who earlier bragged, "I am a maniac. I am the baddest in Washington County. Nobody expletive with me." While Castle sat in the interview room asking for something to eat, the news arrived from the hospital. Corvette Davis was dead. The accident was now a homicide. The detectives didn't blink. They informed Castle he was being charged with murder. His response? Okay. In the study of criminal psychology, we often look for the dark triad, the intersection of narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. In Ted Castle, we see a textbook display of narcissistic rage. Castle's behavior at the park was defined by entitlement. He believed his 30-year residency granted him immunity from the rules of the park. When Corvette Davis challenged that entitlement, it caused what psychologists call a narcissistic injury. To Castle, Corvette wasn't a friend or a human being. He was a subordinate who needed to be put back in his place. We see this in his verbalization. "I'm in charge. I'm the baddest." This is grandiosity, a core trait of the psychopathy checklist PCLR. He attempts to dominate the police officers, insulting their intelligence and boasting about his 147 IQ. This is a common tactic used by offenders to regain a sense of control when their environment becomes restrictive. Observe his verbal minimization. Even after being told Davis is dead, He focuses on his own physical needs, his sucking balance, his need to piss, and his desire for food. There is a profound lack of remorse. In his mind, the victim deserved what he got for being mouthy. Castle's use of his age and veteran status as a shield is a form of impunity, the belief that one is exempt from punishment. He expected the officers to defer to him because of his history, and when they didn't, his rage escalated. The transition from "I didn't mean to" "I was joking" is a classic display of pathological lying and cognitive dissonance. He cannot reconcile his image of himself as a physical fit bad expletive with the reality of being a common killer. So he creates a narrative where the murder is just another accident in a life full of them. The justice system is designed to provide answers, but in the case of Ted Castle, the final word would not be spoken in a courtroom. Before the case could go to trial, before a jury could weigh the accident against the joke, Ted Castle died. With his death, the charges were dismissed. For the family of Corvette Davis, there would be no formal conviction, no sentencing, no moment of legal closure. They are left with the memory of a 95th birthday party that ended in a pool of blood on the grass. Cases like Ted Castle's remind us that behind every headline is a life that existed fully, completely, right up until someone decided it shouldn't. It reminds us that age is not an indicator of character, and that malice can hide behind a cane and a veteran's cap just as easily as a mask. If that thought stays with you, it should. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. And if the Malice Mind is where you come to understand the darkest corners of the human mind, subscribe. We're just getting started.